We don't have the time for a fancy intro, so let's begin directly. Today I'll be talking about brain's stress response, why you seek comfort, habit formation, willpower, coping mechanism, AAP method, and benefits. So let's begin with brain's stress response. So in our body there is a hormone called cortisol, which is basically the stress hormone. So whenever we feel stressed, our brain commands our body to release cortisol from our hormonal glands. It makes us feel stressed because this is the stress hormone. This is the real sciencey stuff, so you don't need to pay this much mind, but the main parts which are affected are the amygdala, which is the emotional part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is related to self-control, and this is why you can't control yourself when you are stressed. That was all the sciencey part, but let's get on to the practical things now. So let's talk about why you seek comfort. Stress makes you scared of hard tasks. Whenever you are stressed, you will always find yourself trying to do something easier than something hard. Nobody will try to do something hard when they are stressed because your brain wants to do something easy. Now, the easier the task, the better. That's because easier tasks provide us comfort, and it also feels nice at the same time because the task is very easy. So drum rolls for what is the easiest task? It's of course bad habits, because they are very easy to perform and it does not take much effort to just scroll on shorts or binge it or something like that. It does not take much effort. Now let's talk about habit formation. Well, how are habits created? Repeating actions create habits. That we all know. But what most people overlook is that stress leads to indulging in bad tasks. More stress leads to indulging in bad tasks in more repetitions. And the result is doing bad tasks over and over again until it becomes a bad habit. So generally all of your bad habits are not particularly bad habits in themselves. They are the accumulation of different bad tasks you did throughout your entire life as a response of stress. Now let's talk about willpower. Willpower, as the name suggests, is the power to resist temptations. This power is heavily drained by stress because, as I previously explained, stress makes you want to do easier stuff more than the harder stuff. So your willpower level reduces. That basically means lower brain power equals lower willpower, and that ultimately leads to this. That is, it becomes harder to resist bad habits. So if you were to increase your willpower in some way, you would be able to counter bad habits. Now there are two main ways to counter it. There are two main ways to counter bad habits, and one uses willpower and the other does not use willpower. The one which uses willpower is basically like, for example, if you are a fan of eating a candy bar, what you can do is you can buy your favorite candy bar and put it on your desk and keep staring at it 24/7. You are essentially keeping your bad habit in front of your face and you are thinking about it, you are journaling about it. Why does a piece of candy have power over me? That is just manufactured in a factory and is made to sell. And why is it creating temptation inside my body that I want to eat it right now? Once you journal, once you feel disgusted by your bad habit, that is the time when you will quit it. But this only works for people who have a decent level of willpower to begin with. And route number 2 is where you don't need willpower. There you just sheerly try to keep the bad habit out of your face by blocking all the pathways through which it enters your life and just using as much force as possible to block rather than to develop your willpower. For most of the people out there, I suggest the second method because most people are not strong enough yet that they can start leveling up their willpower. If you apply your weak willpower to one of your strongest desire or temptations, it will of course not work. So at first you have to keep that thing out of your face. Now let's talk about coping mechanism. Whenever we are feeling strong emotions, bad habits are the quickest way to get us relief. The reason is because they provide a temporary distraction from stress. Now here are two very nice examples of what happens when we use bad habits as a coping mechanism. Number one is, if a person is facing lack of partner in his or her life, he will switch to this. And the second thing is, if somebody is oppressed or abused in various kinds of ways, general cases that people tend to switch over to binge eating because in this current day and age, it provides a sense of comfort from all of the stress that is going around in his life. And so from now on, the key point I want you to keep in mind is every bad habit has a trigger point. That means bad habits are not just habits which are on a repetitive cycle in your life. No, they have a fixed starting point. We all have heard about the snake biting its own tail, that circle of infinity. But what most people fail to understand is there is still the head of the snake there. That means it has an origin point. So this is the conclusion of coping mechanisms, that is, lack of good healthy coping mechanisms leads to bad habits. If you were able to switch your coping mechanisms from something bad to something good, then your bad habits would automatically decrease because you will cope with good things. For example, if you are very stressed right now and instead of binge eating, instead of scrolling, what you did was you went out and did a workout, that is putting the energy in the right place and using a good coping mechanism. Now let's talk about the AAP method. This method contains 3 steps: awareness, alternative, practice. Now let's talk about awareness. At first you need to understand that you are getting the craving. Craving is defined as whenever you want something. Whether that is good, that is bad, that is a total different matter, but the moment you want something, that is called a craving. As I previously said, every bad habit has a trigger point. So you have to find out your trigger points for whenever you are experiencing strong emotions. Step 2 is alternatives. Find alternative mechanisms. And I would say the 3 best coping mechanisms for any kind of situation are: number 1, working out; number 2, going on a walk; number 3, reading a book. These are just general examples, but the 3 I just said right now, they are the best when it comes to dealing with stress and any kind of strong emotions. And step 3 is practice. Now don't be like, I indulged once, so I might as well do more, because that does not help at all and you will regret it soon after. Because whenever you are indulging in something and your brain wants you that you are indulging, that means there is a part of you that still thinks that it is bad for you. And so if you deny that part and keep on indulging in the bad habit, later you will regret it. And only practice is the way to improve. So be consistent until it becomes second nature to you. Now let's talk about the benefits you will experience after all of this. Of course, you will experience a significant boost in your physical and mental health, because if you are using exercise as a coping mechanism, your physical health will get a boost. And since you are following good coping mechanisms instead of bad ones, your mental health is already getting better and better. Benefit number 2 is more energy and a lot more. That's because nowadays people suffer from brain fog or lethargicness and they don't understand that their mental health is the problem for that. Sometimes it happens to you, right? Whenever you are trying to sit down and work, if you have not even procrastinated, you just feel like you can't even start the work because it just feels too much pressure on your brain. It's because of your mental health. So if you were able to improve your mental health first, you would dominate in all areas of life. And benefit number 3 is self-control. That is, you will learn to control yourself. And especially if you use the step 1 of the willpower method, then you will get significantly better than your peers all around you in the space of controlling yourself whenever a temptation comes. This does not just apply to bad habits, it applies to bad opportunities as well, because many opportunities seem very nice and very rewarding at first glance, but once you learn to use self-control, you will start to think that since it is looking too much good to be true, it must have some kind of a catch behind it. You will fall into traps less. So self-control is not just a thing to use on bad habits, it's also a thing to use in your entire life. So with that out of the way, now what you can do is you can subscribe to my email list, which I call Saturday Stories, or else you can watch this video on your screen right now that is popping up about simplifying the hardest skill to learn, which is communication skills, because it is one of the most important skills in your entire damn life. And if that's not your cup of tea and you're trying to improve your mental health even more, then you can watch this video on your screen right now about how I hacked my brain for good using daily affirmations. I'll see you in the next one. Start if you haven't already.